Hello again. As you can see, I'm back to my Custom Keeper journal, and this time I'm going to work on this spread. This background is an experimentation on gel plate, and since those are the colors I'm presented with, those are the ones I'm going to work with today. But I also have decided to play a little bit with doing some stitchery, and I thought that I would do something small to begin with, and this little butterfly is as closely matched as I could get to those two main colors on that gel plate page, and I'm using the paper, stitchery paper, and this design for this piece, which I will get back to doing. I'll do the second one, but right now I want to put some background color on this side, and as you can notice, I used this stencil for the first time on this side, a little bit of it over here. I'm thinking this is going to be a shadow image, but and I used, of course, my handy dandy fine artist Pitt pen so that it is permanent. And I'm going to put the background on again with watercolor. But then again, this time, as the last time, I'm going to be practicing watering down acrylic to fill in the outlined stencil, because I'm fascinated by seeing how much water it takes to kind of obliterate the difference between acrylic and watercolor. So I'm using some neutral tint again, and I am really going to water it down because I would like a very nice light background here, just to send the whiteness packing. All right, that's all that I wanted there. So I can set that aside. And the reason that this is so bumpy and has some marks coming through, because this is the back side of this paper. So I'm going to give this a very light drying, because I don't want to disturb anything that is on the other side of this sheet, because they both reacted, as you can see, to the water. So I'll be right back as soon as this behaves itself. I have gone into my stash, which I will show you in a moment, and I've found two shades of just ordinary embroidery floss that work quite nicely with the two main colors here. And that's what I'll be using. And in order to find these, I went into my needlepoint bags of color and trolled around until I came up with these two. Now, in needlepoint, the holes are to be ignored because they just carry the needle. In needlepoint is all about the threads. So, in other words, this design is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 threads by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 threads. That's simple. 9 threads by 3 threads. And starting with number 1. Where do you put your starting thread? How do you get to number 1? Well, you find your middle down here, and you'll notice this line goes up diagonally. In other words, you can count straight up or straight over in needlepoint, and you can also count over intersections because we're always looking at threads. So this is one intersection. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. The needle will go down, come up here, and I would have to count across on the diagonal here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Bingo. Down in 2. You'll see that as I go. I took a length of floss and separated the floss into its 6 strands because that is what makes floss that one can buy in Joann's or Michael's or Hobby Lobby. That's what makes this, because it's very fine quality cotton, that's what makes this look silky. So, I pulled these 3 bits of floss apart. Now I'm going to put them back together. And this is what I'm going to work with. When I tell you that I am pulling them apart, there is a technique for doing that. I'm going to take out a piece here, and here is the way it comes out of the packaging. 6 strands, and if you were to use it like this, they are very nondescript, but if you hold them so that just the little tip is up and you tease them with your fingers, you can tease these tips apart and grab one, just one, and don't let go, but pull that one out through your closed fingers, and there it is. And it will not make a mess. It will not turn into a rat's nest in your hand. And find your second one, pull it out, bingo, magic. Lay it down next to the other one, and find your third, pull it out, mission accomplished. Take your 3 pieces, even them up, and when you work with them, they will tend to lay next to each other, which will make them look quite silky and flat, not all wrapped around each other. Let me see if I can get any closer. Yes, I can. Here we are. Come on. Come on. There it is. There are the 3 strands laying next to each other, looking very nice and silky, as compared to the 6 strands as it comes all bundled up together. Okay. Now, I'm going to use my needle threader. handiest devices in the entire world. In through here, which is certainly a lot easier to thread than the eye of a needle. Out it goes, and we're off. Taking my little piece of paper, and first we need to find our starting place. And as I remember, on this one I counted and found the middle at approximately there. And since this is a job for our journal, I'm not obsessing about it. I'm also letting myself have an easy time of it. I'm just going to hold a nice long tail here in my hands, and this would be the first stitch, but it isn't. If you will look here, you'll see that I have to come over and find number 1. So let's count diagonally. We decided it was going to be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So that's where I need to be. Out this comes, and in this comes from the back, and we've started. I'm going to hold myself a nice tail here so I can use that to hide the ends of the thread. Alrighty, so 1, and we decided we had to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to come down at 2. We came up at 1 and we're going down at 2. So this is 1. I'll put my glasses on. Oh my, what a difference. So there is our diagonal. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me make sure again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down at 2. And you'll notice how nicely that thread lays and behaves itself. So where's number 3? Number 3 is diagonal, 1 diagonally down. So here was number 1, and this one would be, 1 diagonally down, up at 3, down at 4. 4 is next to 2. Up here is 4 because it's next to 2. Holding on to the ending thread. Number 3, number 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's 5? 5, weird but true, is under number 2. This was number 2 on the corner, so 5 is underneath it. Up it goes. And 6 is up from number 1. Here was number 1, so here is number 6. Where is number 7? 7 is down diagonally under number 3. Here was 3, so here is 7. And where is 8? 8 is next to 4. Up there it goes. Where is 9? 9 is over here under 5. Ten is up straight. 10 is up straight. Let me make sure that this is looking as nicely as it possibly can. Alrighty, so there's 10. Now 11 was the beginning. If we were starting here, that would have been the beginning. There's number 11, and straight up because number 12 is next to number 8. There we go. There's the main pattern. 12, and then 13 is under 9, and 14 is across from, exactly across, and there we have that pattern done. So we're turning over onto the back now, and the place that is closest to the thread that we're working with is here, so I'm just going to run the needle underneath lightly. I'm not going to pull and tug. I'm going to shove it through again, let it catch in the back. Now remember, this is going to be glued to the paper, so there will be no problem. And I think we'll call that done. Cut it off nice and close. That's gone. Now we're going to put this one back on the needle, and well, it looks like we got the closest place again is the same place. So I'm just going to run it under lightly. Don't tug too much because you will distort the front, and the front is looking very spiffy. So maybe back this way this time, and that will do the job. A little glue back there, and nothing is going anywhere. And now we're on this part right here, the blue. So I have my floss as it comes out of the package. Let me get 1, 2, and 3. The other 3 are the ones I used on the other one. Here. Nice tail. And here we have number 11. Number 11 over here is here. And this new color starts diagonally 1 up. So, should we have this right? The long end is here, yes. Okay, this is diagonally 1 up. Leave myself a nice long tail. So we're going, and we're coming right in. There is no count on this one, you'll notice. We're just going to be looking up here, and we're seeing there is a nice diagonal spot. Now this is the one that shows diagonally, but yes, I'm going to use that one. I'm going to declare it because technically I could go under the threads that are there. So there was 1, 2. 2 is right under the last red one. So here's 2. Down in the same hole. 3 isn't there, but that is number 3, and it's down in the same hole. So we just did 1, 2. Now we're going to do number 3, which is skip 1 thread. So we're 1, 2 up. Down in the same hole. 4 is next to 2. down in the same hole. Now there is a limit to how much you can use a hole, but the thread will tell you when the hole is getting too filled. And now they want this long one to kind of cover this area. So, and that one, number 5, is next to number 4, and there's the spot right in there next to number 4. But as I remember, I didn't like that. And so since this is my piece of stitchery, I'm going to go back down in the hole, pull it out. I'm going to hold this diagonally. I'm going to look at this and decide that I'm going to come down here, and then I'm going to go up. Here is where we kept going down in the same hole, and let's go diagonally one up above that, and we've finished. However, I don't like the way that is looking, so I'm going to pull on these, loosen these threads so that they lie nice and flat. And we have 2, I'm going to call them butterflies. Back we go to here, and this is very easy to see where we can hide this thread. We can hide it this way. Don't pull too tightly. Run it back under this way. And one more, why not? Cut that one off. Put this one back on the needle. And do the same thing over here. Run it under. Run it under. Slide it out gently. Cut it off. And mission accomplished. So, I'm thinking that these 2 are going to be flying about up here as bits of collage. Of course, I certainly could have made them larger. I could have doubled the size, literally by just doubling the count, because needlepoint basically is counting and remembering always that the holes don't exist other than it's a place to stick the needle. All you're counting is the threads going vertically, the threads going diagonally, and sometimes, as you saw here, you're counting where the 2 threads cross, which would be an intersection, so it could be going up the diagonal, which makes it very easy to walk up an absolutely straight diagonal, because if you look here very closely, you can see that we have the last thread, and a diagonal from that would be there, a diagonal from that is here, a diagonal from this is here, and it goes straight on, and it's a perfectly straight line on a diagonal. Easy peasy, as they say. Okay, so I think this page might be dry enough now. And I'm going to first use some gray acrylic Just the tiniest touch of gray. A lot of water. Lot of water. Okay, really thin that down so that it is almost transparent, even though it's acrylic. Let's go now and get some color down here. This is coloring book and fun. And then if I want to do any more or add any more, no problem. Okay, a nice thin coat for the tendrils and branches and stems, because I just don't feel as though I want to add any green. At this point, adding lots of water. The only colors that I'm going to be using on this side, on this stencil tracing, is going to be the red, the turquoise, and some gray. What I do add or not add after that, we'll see. I'm not going to bore you to death watching me put an undercoat on these in this stencil. I'll be back as soon as this job is done. Alrighty, now I've decided to add a little bit of Prismacolor to these flowers. Just to give them a little bit more depth. And since I'm working on acrylic, this Prismacolor is very happy. I'm not happy with my grays in Prisma, so I'm using some of Target's gray, and it is very, very nice. Just a little bit more depth. There we go. Right, I'm going to continue with the gray, maybe just a little bit of black, and I'll be back. So, I'm quite tickled with the amount of warmth and depth that those Prismacolors brought to this. And now, I'm using some of my new Inkadinkado stamps to add more depth over here. And I'm starting out with Dove Gray and pressing with all my might, because this other page is not exactly uniform, but whoops, that was almost a minor calamity. Let's get this working correctly now. Isn't this adding a nice bit of softness? Right, now another layer, a little bit more forward, of the Dove Gray. put it on almost the same spot. This one a little bit more this way. These are very, very nicely made stamps. And this way. And the last one. Now I'm going to work the opposite over here. I'm going to put the stone gray first and then some black on top, or at least that's the plan. I think I'm going to let this one come out over the edge here, just because I want to. And here. 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 And the last one here. And now black. And here. Here, and last but not least, now I do believe it's time for me to have a good think about this. Maybe. Maybe. I'll be back. Alrighty now. I'm finishing up with some Target metallic sterling paint. Just a little tiny bit here, because this needs a little, some straight lines. Not too many, but some. And not all over, just some. There we go. I don't think it's going to show up too much over on this side, but I think I'm going to indulge in a little silver on top of this, here and there. And just a little bit more down here, just the tiniest bit. Yes. Now it's time for the stitched butterflies. And I put some antennae on them. And I'm going to use some glossy accents as my glue. I'm going to get the glue right on the back of the stitched bits. And here, as you can see, right on the making sure that they are not lined up with the stenciled squares. Yes. I do hope that you have enjoyed watching me delve into a little bit of stitchery today as collage bits for my day's project. I was particularly tickled with the way the Prismacolors worked on top of the very judiciously used acrylic paint. Very, very fine, thin, watered down base coat. Let's see if we can see this just a little bit better. See if we can see that metallic silver. Yes, just a bit. And the stitchery. And doesn't that Prisma add depth? Ah, yes, 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 there it is. There it is. Let's see if we can catch it this way. Maybe it's not going to be too happy to show itself because of the white background. Oh, there it is, a little bit better. But certainly much better over there. And I think, as I said, that is because it's not on white. So, if you have enjoyed watching this video, I would appreciate it if you would give me a thumbs up, share with a friend, leave a comment, and I would certainly appreciate your subscribing to my channel. Bye now.